Romney with 24, Huckabee 18, McCain 10, Thompson 6, Ron Paul with 2, Duncan Hunter with 1. You got MSNBC saying Mike Huckabee 31, Romney 19, McCain 7, Fred Thompson 3, Duncan Hunter 1, 0 for Giuliani, Ron Paul. And then you got AOL. It's the same as MSNBC. So,
well, I think what that illustrates again is the difference between the rules in different states, and there are some latitude, right, as to what's going to happen. You know,
okay.
Like I think I mentioned to you here in Texas, we had at-large. You know, we had some
Right.
at-large delegates.
Right.
So those there could be different rules for how the at-large delegates are allocated compared to how the delegates in the congressional district are allocated. So there could be some disagreement between how they interpret state rules on how those delegates will be allocated.
And of course, we can look forward to them skewing those rules against us at every turn.
Yeah,
but that's
probably
why,
so. Yeah,
but that's precisely why that we need to get the boots on the ground. We need to canvass in our own little neighborhoods, in our own precincts. Find all the Ron Paul people you can. You just saw that video a little while ago talking about who to talk with, who to find, or whatever. It just boils down to you walking your neighborhood streets, and you can work with the Republican list a little bit at first and go visit them and see if you can cherry pick a few Ron Paul gung-ho people right then off the bat, and then you can divide your neighborhood amongst the gung-ho Ron Paul people, and then start working. After you work your precinct and find everybody you possibly can and recruit everybody you can, then go to those adjacent precincts and start spreading it out right there and find out who's active there. And that's how Jefferson County basically did it in their county. And so it's critical that we canvass. It's just so important because that's how we can win the war. We've got to recognize our strengths and our weaknesses. Right now, we are manpower strong, but we're not quite organized enough yet. We need to get out there. As a matter of fact, that reminds me right now is sign up for that march right there at freedomatlast2008.com. That's going to be a big march on the 21st. But the other thing you need to do is you need to go to ronpaul2008.com, ronpaul2008.com, and sign up to be a precinct captain. Okay, and when you hit that, when you click on that, you're going to put your information in, your name, address, email, etc., and it'll give you little videos to train you with, to canvass. It's going to give you a list of people in your precinct. You'll be able to make sure when you're signing up, before you go to sign up, get your voter's registration card, find out what precinct you're in. And we're going to get this up on YouTube, so you might be in a different state besides Texas. Make sure you know what precinct you're in and the state you're in. That thing is a really smooth system. Basically, by zip code, it narrows down close to the precinct that you're at, and then you'll just select that number, and then boom, it's going to start giving you information about your precinct, names, addresses, phone numbers of people right there in your neighborhood, and that's just so critical. Don, let's talk a little bit about canvassing.
Okay. I did some this afternoon. It's really a couple hours this afternoon. I've been doing it almost every day now.
And so you've been doing canvassing. I know you ran, what district was it you ran for?
House District 50 in northern Travis County.
House District 50, yeah, and that was a pretty close race. We almost got you
in. Very close race.
As a matter of fact, we endorsed you here on this program on that race.
Yeah, I appreciated that. I earned some extra votes there.
And so, you know, it's just really exciting to see that we're just on the edge of really starting to get Ron Paul type
Paul Republicans.
Yeah, Ron Paul Republicans, Ron Paul type candidates. We're right on the edge of making it happen, and these efforts of canvassing are how we build these networks that we can utilize in the future.
This is true. So since you're on the subject of elections, you did know that I had filed to run for Travis County tax assessor collector.
Oh, really?
Or as I say, anti-tax assessor collector.
There we go.
That's what I'm going to run for.
As far as canvassing goes, I mean, tell us a little bit about how the canvassing process works and what you'd be doing out there on the street.
So there are two schools of thought when it comes to canvassing. One of them is to just go ahead and put on your Ron Paul paraphernalia and have your cards and just, hey, yeah, here I am. I'm working for Ron Paul. We're canvassing and working for our candidate. We like him a lot. And just go ahead and tell them who you are. And the other approach is to do a survey. So you don't wear your Ron Paul gear. You really just knock on doors and you're just asking simple questions about, well, do you have any picks for president? Do you have a choice right now for president? Try to find out where they are. Are they Obama people for change? Are they McCain pro-war people? You know, who are they? You want to find out who they are and try to find out what their important issues are and then introduce them to Ron Paul, either at that time or perhaps later.
So really what you could do is try both, what's going to work best for you, and also to see how you glean the most information.
I think it depends on the person's personality mainly and on the precinct where you are. You know,
Okay.
if you're in a hardcore Democrat precinct, you might want to feel out your voters some more and see if there's any dissension or any disappointment with the Democrat candidates, and then introduce Ron that way. It really depends. But I can't emphasize this enough. The main thing is to show up.
Oh, that's
you
right.
got to show up at the door.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, folks.
Smile on your face. Be as friendly as you can. You know, try to engage people and get them to talk to you. It really is like, you know, selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. You know?
Right.
It's really a sales job to try to get the people to talk to you, engage them, get them interested. And then if you can get them talking, you'll have an entry point to talk to them about Ron Paul and perhaps get them fired up.
Well, that's great. And see, and if you're working your neighborhood, you've got the advantage of saying, hey, I'm your neighbor from, a couple blocks away. My name is Richard Reeves. I'm your neighbor. And just introduce yourself that way. As a matter of fact, now, unsuspecting to me, I didn't realize that I was going to be in a race of my own for precinct chair. I mean, I had no intention of running for anything. But you know what? This is just so important that we get Ron Paul elected and that we get other candidates elected. I don't have any interest in running for anything else, but I do realize the importance of being active at the precinct level. So, folks, we can commandeer these precincts nationwide, not just in Texas, but nationwide. Like I say, we've got 100,000+ people on the ground. Every one of you is a leader already. We've got to remember, though, we've got to wear 3 or 4 different hats because we don't have 500,000 or 600,000 people or 1 million people yet. We're going to get there. We're going to be there real soon, and especially if you get out there and find 5, 10, 15, or 20 more people in your neighborhood, and believe me, they're out there, especially here in Texas. As a matter of fact, most states in New Hampshire, 43% of the people were calling themselves independent. You had 30+% calling themselves independent in Iowa. They're independent-minded, but they're still part of the rabbit ears culture. I was talking a little while ago about we've got to recognize our strengths and our weaknesses. We've got a ton of strengths. The Ron Paul campaign has shown the amazing ability to raise the money that's necessary, but the weakness we have is the powers that be still control the mainstream press, and they're very effective at getting it because the rabbit ears culture is still ruling the roost. Simple as that. The rabbit ears culture is still hearing the mainstream media come out there and say, McCain having a surge, McCain's having a surge, McCain's having a surge, McCain's having a surge. He wins New Hampshire. Huckabee's having a surge, Huckabee's having a surge, Huckabee's having a surge, Huckabee's having a surge. He wins Iowa. That's all that's happening, folks, is the sheeple are just listening to the mainstream mockingbirds. Simple as that. And so what we got to do is those are our weaknesses. Is we don't have control of the mainstream airways, and we don't have control. Not that we want it, but we would at least want the sheeple to be awake, and that's what we're getting. We're getting that point, and guess what? The boots on the ground can do it. Don, comments on that?
Here. Boots on the ground, getting people out. I like what you said too about local organizing and local work. Very, very important. The precinct conventions that we talked about a little while ago. The only people that can go to these precinct conventions, which is the first step in the delegate process, you have to be a registered voter in that precinct, and you have to have voted in the Republican primary, and that's all that's required for you to go to the precinct convention and to try to become a delegate. But it has to be local in your precinct. That's what's so powerful about it. It really is very, very, very local politics.
Right.
So that's why it's so important for our people to find out where they are, get some friends in their neighborhood, work your own neighborhood. And you don't have to get a large number of people typically. If you have a precinct with 2,000 or 3,000 people, it's conceivable that your precinct convention could be 20 or 30 people.
And I agree with that. I mean, because that's like, for instance, we were looking at the numbers for my precinct here in southeast Travis County, precinct 448. Robert Morrow, our friend that we're going to go canvass with tomorrow, looked it up, and only 140 people voted for Rick Perry